Hey guys, my name is Alicia, and if you don't know who I am, I usually make thrifting and sustainability type content on my channel. And this week I thought it'd be fun to do a little week in my life vlog where I not only document all of the little sustainable practices I do throughout the week, but also challenge myself to try some new eco-friendly methods. For me personally, environmental sustainability is all about just generally consuming less and kind of finding unique ways of doing things that are a little bit more helpful to our planet. And ever since I've moved to the city, I just feel like I have a lot more control of my life and in making those decisions to live more sustainably. So without further ado, this is my little week in my life Toronto vlog sustainability edition. So I ended up starting filming the week on a Tuesday, and I personally start off each and every day with a cup of coffee. We personally have a Nespresso machine, so we've been using these little PC like Nespresso type pods, and they're actually compostable, which makes me feel so good knowing they're not going to be just like lying in a landfill for like decades and decades. I also prefer oat milk in my coffee, not only because I kind of just think it tastes better, but oat milk is actually one of the best coffee creamers when it comes to the environment because it uses 60% less energy than cow's milk and 80% less emissions and land to produce. Oats also in general just use the least amount of water consumption compared to other plant substitutes, so it's kind of the best option in my opinion for a milk alternative. After I had my coffee, I decided to start this week off by tackling my pile of clothes next to my sewing machine. This is basically my pile that just contains things that either need to be fixed or altered, or they need the sewing machine for some reason or another. So whenever I go through one of these piles, I usually like to start off with the easy projects first and the ones that I'm going to be more likely to wear soon, just so I can just quickly get them checked off and like be a little bit more excited to do it. So for example, I had quite a few dresses that either just need to be taken in at the sides a little or adjusted at the straps, so I decided to tackle those first. Mending your clothing is of course great for the environment because instead of just discarding it and sending it to a landfill, you actually get to extend its life and wear it for even longer. Next, I decided to head to the thrift store. Buying secondhand is always the best option because it prevents new items from being created, therefore less carbon emissions. And I've been on the hunt for a lot of like home goods, a lot of picture frames, but on this trip, I actually ended up finding my dream sewing kit that I've actually had on my list for quite a while now. The design is super cool because it actually like accordions out and reveals all of the little drawers and like storage compartments that you can use. And I'm pretty sure it's vintage just because the only like thing on it was this little stamp at the bottom. And honestly, it might even be handmade because like it kind of looks a little bit wonky, but in a good way. They sell a very, very similar design at IKEA that I was eyeing, but I'm so glad I waited and got it secondhand. Then that night, I used this little silicone baking sheet to heat up my dinner. If you're gonna make one sustainable swap, I would definitely recommend this. I just use it all the time. I think it's like the most worth it. It's honestly super easy to clean and it prevents so much tinfoil from going into the landfill. The next day I got super excited about my new thrift find, so I decided to organize all of my threads in it, and I absolutely love how it ended up turning out. I decided to go with more of like a color coordination, and I think this is going to be so much easier to find the color I'm looking for instead of sifting through this little bin that I had before. I didn't film much else that day, but I did want to show you guys a quick little part of my skincare routine. I used these little reusable cotton pads that I made to take off my makeup. I'll actually link the video where I made them, but they were super easy to make and I have not bought cotton pads in years. And then I just finished off my skincare routine with this little moisturizer that actually comes in a glass jar, and this is actually from a local small business, so whenever I order from them I just get them to reuse the jar, therefore creates no container waste. If you didn't know, I actually run my own vintage clothing business where I usually ship my orders about once a week, and Thursday just happened to be that day of the week. I love running my vintage clothing business because it just feels so good when somebody places an order and I know that I made it easier for them to shop secondhand online rather than purchasing something new. So I caught a bus in order to get to the post office downtown. Public transportation is definitely one of the most sustainable options out there because it actually reduces carbon emissions by about 45% as opposed to driving in a car. And ever since I've moved to the city, I no longer drive. And as somebody who used to drive literally everywhere, it honestly just feels really good like taking the bus, taking the subway, and just like having that time back to yourself to like listen to music and just chill. Yes, it takes way longer to get to places, but I don't know, I've been enjoying it. Even though I'll probably regret those words in the wintertime. But it definitely feels better knowing that I am traveling a lot more sustainably. I always bring my reusable tote bag everywhere I go, which of course was holding my package that I needed to ship and my reusable water bottle, which I also take everywhere I go because you never know when you're going to get thirsty, and it not only saved me money from like having to buy a water bottle while I'm out and about, but it prevents using like a single-use plastic. Then I finally made it over to the Chit Chats location where I just easily dropped off my package. I also try to walk as much as I can, which is always great, of course, until it starts raining on you. Then later that evening, I made it home and started to make dinner. This is the current state of our little herb garden and propagation, so I just harvested some of the green onion for my dinner. Growing your own food is not only amazing because it can save you money, but it actually reduces your carbon footprint because it eliminates all of the transportation emissions and packaging that usually comes with food from the grocery store. And as you can see, you really don't need much space to start. For this night, I did end up deciding to make this vegan tofu meal. Eating vegetarian is obviously great for the environment, because it dramatically reduces the amount of land, water, and oil resources that it takes to farm livestock. And I'm not even close to being a vegetarian, but I definitely do enjoy a vegetarian meal here and there, and even just having a few vegetarian meals throughout the week can definitely make a big impact. And I know this doesn't look the best on camera, but it was honestly really delicious, and I'll definitely be making this again. For Friday, I had planned a little girls' night for one of my friend's birthdays at my place. So I started the day by baking some cupcakes. This was actually my first time using these little reusable cupcake holders, and really similarly to the baking mat, they were super easy to use because the cupcake just like slid out of them without having to use any sort of oils or anything like that. Although I will say they do take a little bit of time to clean them, but that wouldn't stop me from using them again. And if you guys don't know this hack for making cakes, just add like a half a pack of pudding mix into the mixture and they will always come out super moist. And for our girls' night, we decided to do a PowerPoint night. So I headed to my desk to finish that up. I ended up doing my PowerPoint, identifying which littlest pet shop would be each of my friends. And this is the one I ended up choosing for myself. So like, I'm obviously biased, but like, you guys tell me, like, do you think I chose the right one? And even though I got a little bit too much into the PowerPoint and forgot to set a timer for my cupcakes, I forgot to put a timer on, they still ended up turning out amazing. And then I just packaged up my friend's gift with this bag that I reused that I had received on my birthday and had stashed away. So I always reuse as much as I can. I didn't really film much of Saturday because I was hanging out with my friends all day, but I did get this little clip of when we went to the Good Friends Market, but my camera immediately died after that. But we got to shop from a bunch of sustainable and secondhand shops at the market, which was obviously really good. Sundays are usually my reset days, so I spent the whole day doing a little bit of a deep clean. I try to avoid using paper towels and instead just clean all of my surfaces with this reusable cloth. I also clean my floors with a reusable pad. And then at the end of the day, everything just gets thrown into the washer with bleach and comes out good as new. I also wanted to check a few things off of my bucket list that day. And first on the list was trying out Too Good To Go. If you guys didn't know, Too Good To Go is an app that is kind of like Uber Eats except for discounted food items that you can order for a really good deal instead of them being thrown away. When I placed my order, there weren't that many options, but I ended up picking up my food from this place called KX Coffee Bar, and the pickup was super easy. Everything went smoothly with that. And once I got home, I just unpackaged everything. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's kind of like a total mystery of what you get. So you basically like order a bundle and it gives you an idea, but you don't know exactly what you're gonna get. So I unboxed my mystery bundle, and for $6.99, I ended up receiving one croissant, one cinnamon roll, and one pain au chocolat. And don't get me wrong, these are all a delicious selection, but I don't know, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more variety, something other than desserts, since the order did say like, oh, you could get a dessert, but you could also get a salad or a sandwich, so I was a little disappointed that I only got desserts. Plus the mystery bundle said that this bundle was valued at $18, which like, $18 for 3 pastries is kind of crazy. Like, I guess this place is pretty expensive. So to me, I just don't think I got the value out of that. And I would rather just like spend my $6.99 and go to the grocery store and get like a whole pack of croissants and stuff for that money. So I was a little bit disappointed by this experience, but I'll definitely try it again in the future. But this time, make sure I choose a place where I'll get a little bit more value out of it. So somewhere that just sells like fruits and veggies or only sells meals. Another thing that I wanted to check off of my sustainable bucket list was to check out the refill store. This is a place where you can basically take your empty bottles of like soap and laundry detergent and fill them up there rather than buying like a whole new container. So basically what you do is weigh your container and then just tag them with the weight so that you don't get charged for it at the checkout. And then you can simply choose your favorite scent and refill it. They had a really big selection, but we ended up filling up our hand soap with the scent Almond Blossom and our dish soap with the scent Lemon Zest. I also picked up some more True Earth detergent since we were running low. And although I absolutely love the concept and the vibe of this place, I unfortunately don't think I'll be returning because it ended up being pretty expensive. The hand soap ended up costing 81 cents and the dish soap was surprisingly $6.94. So don't get me wrong, the soap's really nice, definitely high quality. They smell amazing, but I just don't think I can personally justify that in my budget. But then we just finished off the night watching this movie in the park. That night they were playing this Canadian movie called Rice Boy Sleeps, and I had no idea what it was about going into it, but it was really, really good. Very heartfelt and kind of like a unique telling of the Canadian experience. Then on Monday, I enjoyed one of my pastries. It was really good, not gonna lie. And I also noticed that our bath mat was coming apart, so I just quickly threw it under the sewing machine and put it back together. This was a really quick job on my part, so definitely not my best work, but it's also a bath mat, so who cares what it looks like as long as it's functional, and I'm glad that we will be able to continue to reuse this bath mat over and over again instead of just buying a new one. And that pretty much ended up wrapping up a sustainable week in my life. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I was honestly surprised like just how many sustainable practices I could pick out of like my daily and weekly routine. And I really hope this video can encourage you guys to make some sustainable swaps of your own and show you that, yeah, it's really not that hard, and it's more about just living more like simple life, I guess. I also just want to mention I am not perfect. You know, I was caught red-handed holding a single-use beverage in this video. I use plastic wrap sometimes when it just makes the most sense, but living sustainably is not about being perfect. It's just about trying your best in order to actually sustain that lifestyle for yourself. And you absolutely do not need to be buying expensive soaps. It's just more about separating your needs from your wants. Yes, you do need dish soap, so just pick up like the couple dollar bottle in the plastic container, but maybe you don't need the newest like Amazon kitchen gadget that you're going to use twice and then it's just going to end up in the garbage. Also, if you have any sustainable practices that you do in your routine that I completely missed out on, definitely leave it in a comment below so I can add it to my personal routine. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you next week.